Scotty, let's start with you. Obviously, as I mentioned to you a bit earlier today, the turnaround, the 5-day turnaround, first big training session today. How is everyone? Pulled up any concerns from the weekend, or everyone looking pretty good to take their place on Friday?
Yeah, everyone's looking fairly good. We didn't get too many injuries out of the game, just bumps and bruises, usual stuff. But the short turnaround is a little bit of a challenge. Excuse me. So we just trained once this week, did an extra recovery, and then we're able to dial into a review up until this morning, and then we flipped over, concentrating on Carlton from then in the Oppo meeting. So it's actually in some ways good to not have to push through a normal training week. You just train once and then play. I'm sure players would rather do that. So that's a positive, but yeah, we're being fairly lucky that we're fairly fresh as well, so that's good.
Probably the two big questions over Chloe and her arm. She looked like she was getting through today all fine, but Montana was kind of on the outside. Probably not for this week, maybe one more week away for her.
Yeah, we know that this afternoon actually. She's in a space where we can play her if we want to, but it's a matter of Russian roulette, as I said to you before. It's do you play someone that is so important to you and use up the time that you've got with the player from an injury that is going to just stay persistent now throughout the year, or do you just manage her, give her a 3 or 4 week break and then play her? So it's backed by science, and we'll have that discussion with the medicos today. But there is a chance she'll play this week, and then there's also a chance it might be 2 or 3 weeks. So it's just one of those things that we can't just give her 5 or 6 weeks off to recover. So we'll go week by week, and you would have noticed today she does minimal outside training, and then in a normal week she would have trained and then put her hand up for selection. So I imagine that she'll be in and out of the side a little bit over the rest of the year, which is just the way it is, and that's just going to come down to as I said, a little bit of Russian roulette.
And Brooke, just for you, obviously it's a major milestone this weekend. I mean, to bring up something like that and to be here second season in Sydney, the winning feeling is back. It must be a really exciting time for you.
Yeah, it is a proud moment for me individually. It's taken me 8 seasons to get here, so it's definitely something that I'll celebrate and make the most of this week. And it's just fitting that we're going down to Melbourne, and I'll be able to have all my friends and family there. But yeah, as you said, it's been nice this season to get some wins on the board, and we'll keep building and hopefully get some more W's in the coming weeks.
Let Tilly ask you, then I can come back at the end.
Cool. Carlton, obviously this week it's a very big one in that you guys haven't actually played before in this contest, but you did have that pack match against them at the start of the year. How are confidence levels now coming off the back of a big win that you were able to actually stem the flow in the fourth quarter and keep that distance?
Yeah, I think it's gives you a little bit of confidence out of the practice match, but to be honest, they were trying a few things and so are we. So you take a little bit out of it, but we've actually pulled bits out of both our games against the Gold Coast and Carlton and taken that into our season. There were other things that we sort of put in the bin and thought that's not going to work this season. So it'll be very different. I imagine there's not too many harder tasks than Carlton at Icon. It's a bit of a fortress there, and if you do happen to beat them there, in my experience anyway, it's usually just. So we'll have to fight out 4 quarters, but it's a really good challenge. And the good thing is, what the practice match does do, it just gives you a confidence with a few matchups. So that'll be something we can look at doing and try to tie them up a little bit and see if we can get the game on our terms as quickly as possible.
Well, matchups I think are going to be a very key part of it, and a lot of what Brianne Moody's been able to do in the rugby. You pair that with how Ali's performed over the last couple of weeks. How are you seeing that as a key matchup across the ground?
It's critical to us. She creates a lot of momentum for us, and taking the ball out of the ruck and getting some clearance meters is what we sort of look for. And we'll see if we can get some momentum. And Bree Moody's a great player, and no doubt she'll spend some time forward as well. So that'll present a challenge as well. So, but yeah, it'll be good. Bring your popcorn and watch Moody versus Morfitt.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brooke, for you, what would it mean to be able to get a couple of goals in front of family on it's footy weekend? It's one of the biggest weekends for AFLW in the year. Being able to have that many people around Icon Park too, how good would that feeling be? Just knowing that they're all there in the pocket watching.
Yeah, as you said, I think it's the best week to be in Melbourne, and there's just a buzz around the city. So we were able to be there last year for a whole week, so to be able to be there this year as well is really exciting. As you said, hopefully we'll get the stands packed at Icon on Friday. I know that I'll bring a bit of family there, so hopefully they're cheering loud for the red and the white. But yeah, as Scotty said, we're really excited for the challenge, and we know it's going to be a tough game, but yeah, we're excited for it.
And Lucy, obviously, this is her coming against her former team. Has she been brought into any strategy sessions? Are you guys looking at some key matchups across the ground from her eyes?
Yeah, she presented on some players in the Oppo meeting and just went through their strengths and weaknesses, and which is really nice. We do that with any player that comes from another club. I just think that gives you there's no point us sitting down and seeing what we see on vision. You can actually get in depth with it. But as far as game strategy, they've got a new coach and their game style's changed. So there's not too much game plan wise, but it was more just to know a little bit about some key players and maybe where we can get a little bit of an advantage. And then I like the idea of the players that come into the team speaking about what they thought of us and how they, if they played us last year, what they did and how they approached it, which can give you an insight to how or what to expect in a game. So other than that, though, it's really about us and how we can keep moving forward.
Buddy, we saw Bella get forward and kick a couple of impressive goals last week, and obviously kind of predominantly a defender, but has that ability to go forward. Is that something that, on the back of that performance, we might see a bit more of her getting into that forward line?
I think so. We always had it in the back of our minds, and she actually played forward for us a little bit early on last season, particularly in our practice matches and match scrimmages. It was just through circumstance that she went back when Alice Mitchell did the ACL, and then we had last year we had Jen Tavan, who's now at Carlton, ironically, playing that role and doing quite well. So it was just a balance thing. And when she was at Collingwood, and I was coaching there with Collingwood with her as well, it was the same thing. She was sort of forward and back. So I think she's always done it. It's just that last week it worked. So we'll probably look at doing it again. But then, Bree Moody presents a bit of a problem down back for us. So we may look at Bella on Bree as well. I think that'd be a fairly certain thing to happen at some stage.
Have you used a bit of that footage of Julie making that smotherness sliding into the post as a bit of this is the effort that we can kind of draw on each week, and you want the team to kind of follow suit? Yeah,
definitely. I think it was one of those moments. She plays it down all the time, doesn't she? She said it's standard in Gaelic football. I don't know about that, but
she came off the bench too.
She came off the bench, yeah. It was amazing. But I know it lifted us in the coach's box. It was the same player-wise. Yeah,
certainly. And looking at the footage too, Ella went up against 3 West Coast players, so her effort as well was awesome. But yeah, we draw on those moments all the time. Those are real bloods moments for us, and we want to really protect our heartland.
And Brooke, for you, something a few of the players have spoken about is about those forward 50 entries is probably the next step in the evolution of this team, and that there's a sense of maybe it's a little bit of panic kicking it forward. What do you think needs to come to get that composure in the game to kind of more consistently hit those targets when going into forward 50?
Yeah, I think it's been good practice for us the last couple of weeks. We've had sides that have flooded our forward line, which makes it obviously difficult at times, but we've been doing some practice in training with our mids to forward. So we've done a lot of work on it, and hopefully you'll see a bit of change this week. And we'll try and move the ball a bit differently to get better inside 50 entries.